Zodiac signs. What to say about them? We all have one. It came for free with your birth. So one day there was a person with zero knowledge in anything astrology related, thinking, damn, it's kind of unfair how some zodiac signs are like lions and centaurs and scorpions and other bad stuff, while others are like scale. It was once again up to me to save people from the horrifying fate of having a lame zodiac sign. I called 11 of my artist friends and told them to design a character with the theme Zodiac Warrior. There were no rules other than it had to be recognizable as the zodiac sign they were representing, and that the symbol of each zodiac sign had to appear somewhere in the design. That's it. Apart from those things, they had full creative freedom, making any sort of warrior character they want. I told them to go wild. Mechas, magical girls, monsters, whatever type of character they prefer. And yes, almost every artist got matched to their corresponding zodiac sign, except Virgo and Capricorn, because I guess those two signs hate me or something, I don't know. Let's see all the speed paints in order of their zodiac signs, starting with me. Hi. As the host of this collab, it's kinda fitting I'm Aries. Bold, driven, charismatic, and good leaders. At least according to Google, and who am I to state otherwise? Well, for branding it would have been better to be a water type. I blame my mother for not giving birth a couple of weeks earlier. But anyways, for my character I almost immediately thought of a shepherd, since Aries is represented by a ram, and I really like drawing silly animals, so I wanted to give him a companion. I ended up giving him two sheep companions because I thought of naming my character Mars, as in the planet that represents Aries. And then it occurred to me I could name his ship Deimos and Phobos after Mars's twin moons. That was a cute idea, so I went with it. Aries' associated color is red, so that helped me narrow down the character's color scheme. I gave him white hair, not only because it kinda looks like sheep wool, but also because Aries' birthstone is diamond. I also added some golden accents with the multiple bells in his outfit for a bit more of contrast. I added the Aries symbol in his chest plate to indicate he's a very passionate person. Apart from giving him some ram features as the ears, horns, and eyes, I decided to also give him fluffy boots and gloves. Finally, I gave him freckles and a little birthmark in the shape of the actual Aries constellation. And here's my Aries guy! I don't know how great of a warrior he is on his own. I have the feeling he sends his rams to headbutt his opponent, and once they are on the floor he just bonks them. We'll have to see how screwed he is compared to the other warriors.
Yo, konnichi's up guys, my name is David the Davester, and I'm here to show you guys my character design for Taurus, the zodiac sign that I've been assigned to. I'm gonna be a little bit direct with you guys, and outright say that I have no knowledge on zodiac signs at all. So you can imagine my little dilemma when I was in this collab. Luckily, I have Google. Google helped me out a lot, to the point that I made a little pure ref board so I can know what my references are going to be and what style I wanted to go for. Luckily, I found a lot of websites and resources that helped me out with just that. The personality. I wanted the personality traits to shine in the design and not just be like a generic bull, because my whole experiences with zodiac signs have been only from Hunter x Hunter. And you know, I don't want to just rip off Hunter x Hunter. Fun part about character design, anybody can do it, you know? So I wanted to have my own little twist to it. And that little twist is a butler. I wanted my bull design or my Taurus design to be a butler. The butler design that I always wanted, that I dreamed of. Mostly because the personality traits were just perfect for it. Like reliable, patient, you know, devoted, responsible, stuff like that. And plus, the things that Tauruses would like is mostly gardening, cooking, music, romance, high quality clothes, working with your hands. So I wanted them to be more on the actual farmer slash butler side. I imagine that they were more like, if they were a Pokemon, I guess, or had a Pokemon type, be ground type or grass type. A gentle giant, dare I say. A giant that would be mostly in tune with nature. So that's what the direction that I went for was. Hey, what can I say? It was either that or make a Minotaur. Let's be honest, this is cooler.
I am Speed, the fastest artist in the world. Exactly that type of person to call a 10-hour work sketch. And I am a Gemini of this collab. Ha, imagine, yeah, that sign that's always depicted by not one, but two people. I should have swapped signs with someone. Let's ask Uncle Google what my sign is even associated with. Personality traits. Charismatic. He uses humor as a crutch. Could talk to a brick wall. Too accurate, I need to check something else. Best careers. Bubblegum rapper, joke writer, what? Twitter personality. God forbid. Yeah, I guess it's my time to quit YouTube. Gemini is usually described as a positive sign having lots of energy and childlike curiosity. I wanted the pose and the expression to reflect that. The skin was made to correspond with the sign's associated color, yellow, while also being supported by orange, pink, and white, creating a nice warm color palette. This sign isn't really about war and fighting, so I wanted my girlie to be more of a princess, having fun. Gemini's birthstone is pearl, so I incorporated it into her hair as accessories. And no, I'm not done yet. Why is Gemini a red flag? Ooh la la. Who can beat Gemini in a fight? What? Why does it sound like Gemini is some kind of a gorilla? Oh, Aries. Ew. Now we need a twin. If one side is described as being fun and social, the other one is thoughtful and introspective, sometimes disconnected and very indecisive. For my interpretation, I didn't want both girls looking similar. It would be boring. Instead, I wanted to show how actually different these two sides can be. I decided to connect them using this Egyptian hieroglyph as an inspiration. It represents rope. Seems fitting since they are literally tied to each other. Their poses combined are drawn to be reminiscent of Gemini's symbol. Gemini, ladies and gentlemen.
It's crab time. Hi, I'm Cozy, and I barely know anything about star signs, which meant the very first step into my character design was researching what being a Cancer meant.
Horoscopes? Yo, let's see what my horoscope is today. For specifically today, you may feel like you're on the run in some way or other today. What? That's ominous! It may even seem like someone is chasing you. They're right on your heels. What?
With that lovely first experience into the world of star signs, I brought my notes together and I got to drawing. So, from my profound researching on horoscope.com, I deduced that Cancers are emotional, intuitive, and practically psychic, ruled by the moon and characterized by the crab. They also have a couple more things related to them, like the color violet, pearls, white roses, and the fourth ruling house, which basically just means the feeling of home. Putting all of these themes together was difficult to say the least. I actually spent about 30 days trying and failing to come up with anything I was happy with. I'm literally only showing maybe a fourth of the footage I have. It was insane. But then, 2 days before the deadline, inspiration struck. For my Zodiac warrior design, I decided to combine mainly two things: armor and 1800s funeral attire. These are two incredibly contrasting themes, which is exactly what I wanted to show the moral dilemma that this character is constantly going through. She doesn't want to fight. She doesn't want anyone to be fighting or to be hurting. Yet she still always finds herself on battlefields and among the deaths and cries of the soldiers that she is so desperate to save, because she has a special ability, which allows her to inflict a certain emotion within another being, the longing for home. You see, she's the reason that the young soldier runs away from the fight. She's the reason that the dying soldier reaches for his locket with pictures of his loved. And she is who whispers in the back of the marching soldier's ear. With that kind of power, she feels responsible for every person that still fights on a battlefield, and she mourns every being that she couldn't save. So when you do see her, she will be in funeral attire with silver armor on top, with a veil that keeps her focused yet not quite hiding her pain. She will form the sign of Cancer with her arms and speak in the back of your mind. And if you know what's good for you, you will listen.
Hello everyone, my sign is Leo. I knew I wanted to do something a little out of the box since I feel like a lion-themed warrior could be pretty predictable. The prompt for this collab included magical girls as an example, and that's what I decided to go with. Looking through outfit references for magical girls, I saw one that reminded me of a ringleader, and I went with that as my theme. And I took ideas from a few different female ringleader costumes that I found. I made her a cute lion girl, ears and tail included. My friend suggested little paw-looking shoes, and I think that idea looks super cute. I wanted to make her tail into the shape of the Leo symbol at first, but when thumbnailing I couldn't get that to work with this pose. I did add a little swirl into her tail fur in that shape, and I made the whip into the symbol instead. I also felt I needed to add something more obvious and concrete as the symbol, so I gave her a little brooch at the neck. I put a pretty subtle sun shape onto the decoration on her hat since Leo is my sun sign. She also has little star dangles to reference the star sign theme. I'm a bit sad I didn't add any fire theming to the design. If I were to redesign her, I would add something there. For now, I'll just say that she's a fire breather as another circus-themed power. Her color scheme almost solely consists of gold, red, and purple since those are the colors associated with Leos. And she's done!
When I started my design work, I had a few initial ideas that everything else was built around. I knew she was going to have short hair, brown skin, and a darker aesthetic. Her concept is centered around being a guardian angel turned rogue warrior. She promised her human that she'd always be there until the very end, though this was cut short after his soul was supposedly destroyed through unnatural means. Now she binds herself to the mortal realm as a sort of self-inflicted punishment for her failure. In this world, severed soul bonds like these result in a condition known as echo blight, something that's unique to guardian angels. It basically leads to rogue behavior, gradual form distortion, prolonged grief, plus phantom-like sensations, much like those reported from people who have been amputated, for example. There's a purification treatment that allows angels to return to their default state, though many would much rather flee than be forced to forget. Carmen is unnervingly precise. She'd never admit to the fact that every strategy is built on keeping others out of harm's way, though not so much for herself. Carmen holds herself to a high standard and those around her as well. There are no shortcuts or grace in her mind, only atonement. Her halo can transform into a sword, and she's capable of summoning light threads, something that operates like a spider's web in how she can track the motion and physical states of others. A general theme of all possible abilities includes self-sacrifice, analysis, and keeping tabs on others. She's going to make sure that everyone's accounted for. And that's Carmen, the Virgo warrior.
Libra character designs suck. If you ever have a set of characters designed around star signs, I guarantee you Libra is always the worst. And you know, part of me gets it. It's way easier to make a cool character around lion than scales. But that is why I'm here, because I'm going to do Libra some damn service for once. With Finn stating that these had to be warriors, I immediately knew what I had to make: a magical girl. Libras are all about balance, so having a character that has to balance school life and her time fighting monsters would be a great fit. Libra's also about justice and shit, so it's totally not me forcing my personal preferences into a design. So, here's a fun fact for you. Libra is the only star sign that cannot be represented by a living thing. So, I decided to make her a robot. Yes, I'm making a robot magical girl. Come on, I can't be the only one that thinks that Libra's symbol kind of looks like a power button. I didn't want to use physical scales in my design, because I thought it would be more interesting to use them to inspire my character's silhouette. Her hair acts as the scales bar, and her chunky arms as the proverbial scales. The same can also be seen with the scale decor on her cape, as it matches up with the wider part of her dress. Libra's symbol appears all over the design, but I mainly used it as the joints on her elbow and knees, having the main appearance of the symbol as a hair clip that she uses to transform. She gets a blue-white colour scheme to go with the two birthstones under Libra, September's Sapphire and October's Opal. Now, no magical girl is without her mascot, so while I couldn't find an official animal for Libra, despite Google AI insisting it was the swan, a butterfly seemed the most fitting to me. It's symmetrical and covers Libra's air sign status. So after all that, here is Harmony and her magical companion Sky, who also goes by her magical alias, Miracle Libra.
My first thought with an animal like a scorpion is that it would make such a cool cyborg, but also I already do so much of that I kinda wanted to step out of my comfort zone. So then I thought, let's base it off a real environment. The thing is, scorpions can be found pretty much any part of the world, so there were so many directions I could take this. I feel like the obvious choice would have been a samurai because of the armor, but I actually based it off my favorite one, the African emperor scorpion. I mean, look at this! Look at these guys! It made me think outside the box a little, since I imagined his armor would be quite sparse in the hot climates. So on top of the obvious elements, there's a couple of more subtle design choices, like his hair resembling a scorpion tail, and the markings of his cheeks being the same number of lines as a scorpion's legs. I kept the colour scheme pretty earthy since Scorpio's planets are Mars and Pluto, and gave him some subtle blue for the gem blue topaz. But yeah, here he is. Then the voices one, and I also did a cyborg design for fun. Listen, I can't help myself, alright?
Hello, I am Okente, and here to represent beloved Sagittarius. So the reason I struggled with my prompt at first is actually because I feel I was given too much to work with off the bat. Others have animals or concepts to expand into the prompt of zodiac signs as warriors, but the base of Sagittarius is that he is a centaur archer, which is already a humanoid warrior. So, to make him unique, but still recognizable as Sagittarius took several days of thinking time. And then it hit me. Centaurs have 6 limbs. You know what else has 6 limbs and is super awesome? Dragons! I love dragons. And from there, it all just fell together. Sagittarius is even a fire sign. It was practically meant to be. I got the idea that to simulate a dragon spewing fire, the centaur uses its arrow as the fire projectile. But I also couldn't help adding a little spark by his angry gnashing teeth. For the direction of the armor, my inspiration was mecha. Do I know how to draw that? Nope. And that is probably why it doesn't actually look very mecha. More cybernetic. Even so, it was a fun experiment and I love how this guy ended up turning out. Enhancements on his little hoofsies and a sick-ass dragon helmet. Very fiery, very feisty. As the last note, I know very well that I could have put his zodiac symbol in several places, for example on his chest plate, helmet, or even on his bow, but he's a horse. Placing it as his own badass cutie mark was just too tempting. So here's my boy. I don't know if he's fighting the other zodiacs or they're all fighting something together, but he's ready. Oop! I just got your horoscope. It says here that all Sagittarius will have exactly 4 of their hairs stolen tonight by goblins, in exchange for some extra coins left around your room. We don't know what they're planning, I'm just the messenger. Good luck!
So I'm not a Capricorn. No, I'm not a Capricorn. I'm an Aquarius, but you know who is a Capricorn? That would be my brother. And if there's one thing you need to know about my brother is that he is obsessed with the 2007 MMORPG RuneScape. So I decided to dedicate this drawing to him. I started out just by asking him what's his favorite outfits and armors or like whatever sets he likes to build because I don't know shit about old school RuneScape. He sent me this and also this one and also this chick, which peak design. But he said his favorite was this hooded robed figure, so I went with that one. When I was looking into what Capricorn was, I always just kind of figured it was a goat. I'm not well versed in the other star signs, I just know about mine because I'm conceited, but apparently it's a goat fish, like goat mermaid type thing. Okay, I went with an earthy color palette because apparently the star sign is very earth aligned, whatever that means. And I tried to use all the stripes as a way to make subtle arrows that point to his head. And I wanted to lean in to the fish aspect for the hooded version of him because I was so shocked to find out that it was a goat fish. So I figured I would flip that in reverse, so when you see him, you think, oh, this looks like a very fish-oriented man, until he pops off his hood and you're like, oh shit, no, it's Capricorn, look at those horns. While I was making this design, I was watching a lot of Apothecary Diaries, and I love the robes that the consorts wear. So I applied my own version of that onto him with that middle piece that's tied together with that long drapey piece of cloth that kind of looks like a dead fish. Also, shout out to Hayden for telling me to turn that fishtail braid from his hair into a fishtail braid for his beard. Other details that are kind of relevant, I tried to make his staff look like a Poseidon's trident. until he takes off the hood and you realize, oh, it looks like goat horns. Also, the little beady things where his hood connects, I tried to make that look like the RuneScape water runes, to be like, you know, water, hey, fish like water. He's our Capricorn and we love him.
I'm an Aquarius, and I was quite pleased to be able to draw for my own sign. Sorry to the other Aquariuses in this collab. I knew immediately that I wanted to lean into a more classic look for my design, and since we had to make Zodiac warriors, it was sort of the perfect opportunity for me to try and mix fashion and some practicality together. I went through a couple iterations before moving onto the actual sheet because I ended up getting really indecisive with what kind of silhouette I wanted, and eventually settled on a mix between the second and third designs that I made. To be honest, because Aquarius is an air sign, but it's so tied to the element of water, being the water bearer, I was pretty confused on what kind of fighting style I wanted to give her or how I wanted her to sort of do her warrior stuff. But in the end, I did settle on the idea where she summons a pot from her belt, a bit like an endless magical storage, and she bends the water that comes out of it. I find it so interesting how an air sign like Aquarius is so tied to the element of water, so tied to being responsible for it as well. So I thought, just to tie it all together, I wanted to make her hair flow like water and sort of look like waves at the very tips and ends of her strands as well. Overall, I wanted to keep the design consistent with flowy shapes, draping, all of that, whilst also being conceivable that she could fight in clothes like that. I think reflective of how I feel about my sign as well. I feel like she would be a little bit confused why, as an air sign, she's so tied to the element of water, why she's constantly the water bearer. And maybe it gives her a little bit of an identity crisis. Anyway, I had a lot of good fun making this. Here's the character sheet, and here's a little extra illustration I did for it too.
Hey guys, my name is RGB. So I was tasked with making a design for a lovely Pisces sign, known for being emotionally sensitive, gracious, and hopeless romantic. Pisces is seen as a very cheesy sign in my opinion. It's a creative airhead, an emotional mess who's always in its own world, dreaming of the future and drowning in its passions. I believe I got pretty creative with this one. Before we dive into the design itself, I'll give you a brief peek into the world our lovely Pisces is from. The Earth we know exists in two dimensions: the waking realm, physical reality, the place where humans live, and the astral spiral, a psychic dimension formed by the collective human unconscious. It's a vast, ever-shifting realm of thought, memory, emotion, and instinct. Lurking around the corners of the astral spiral are the fractures, creatures born from fear, madness, despair, and entropy. Their goal is to unravel the human psyche, shattering individual and collective sanity, thereby making Earth ripe for consumption by the Hollow, a cosmic void entity. To protect humanity, the astral spiral manifests 12 eternal guardians, the Zodiac warriors. Each one embodies the essence of their own sign, formed from the core archetypes of human consciousness. The Zodiac warriors are not literal humans, but conceptual avatars existing outside of linear time. They reside in the Citadel of Signs, a floating astral fortress orbiting Earth's unconscious core. Pisces is named as the Dreamtide Oracle. For Pisces specifically, I leaned heavily into a beach aesthetic, fused with some astronaut features. Pisces is a mix of mystery and empathy, being an airhead who is very sweet and bubbly at times, but who seems to carry an unknown burden underneath their helmet. They are the bridge between dreams and waking, who dissolves pain and reveals the truth underneath each individual's unconscious. It's believed that because of its deep knowledge of humanity's unconscious, it has to shoulder all of the cruelty and brutality that comes from the heart of the most tainted people. I leaned heavily into the type of character design that seems very inappropriate for fighting. If I had to design all of the Zodiac warriors, they would all favor aesthetic over anything else. I just wanted to have fun. Oh, I spoke too much. I hope you enjoyed this. Bye!
And this is our final character roster. I personally couldn't be happier with the final results. Everyone did an amazing job, and if you're not subscribed to all these artists, I'll be leaving their channels in the description so you can check them out. Normally I would ask you to leave a comment with your favorite design from the video, but this time I'm asking you which one of these warriors you think is the strongest. Yeah, that's right, it's power scaling time! Hope you like this silly challenge. I might end up doing a second part of this with the Chinese zodiac if people are interested. But that's all for this one. Bye bye!